Hey everybody, hope you guys doing all right. So this is a new charity organization that I've seen popped up on a few YouTubers whom I have a lot of respect for. So I don't know much about them, but I am going to be doing some investigation because, in my opinion, if you're really going to be a charity organization, especially with all the corruption in today's world, it needs to be absolutely transparent, and you need to be offering actual specific solutions to the problem, just like politics. So I want to take a look because, like I said, I'm new to this organization, so I don't know. So anyway, let's just continue on. So they're talking about statistics and all the bad stuff, which is good to share this information because it's very real. Now this is a little interesting. So I like how they're talking about the reasons why this is here, but they also, let me just go through it. Okay, so a persistent lack of access to nutritious food. So that's absolutely true. But again, like to say that, like you're sharing the cause of it, why not just provide a simple solution? Like, okay, so we have a persistent lack of access to food. So a solution would be to develop centers and organizations all over the world where we're growing food, and then the conflict and insecurity, like I've said, we can develop ways to help train men and to teach other men how to defend themselves. And you can also build protective buildings with hemp and hemp creek. And if you do it the right way, it's stronger than steel. You can even make bullets stronger with hemp. You can make bulletproof vests out of hemp. So that's another solution. A dramatic increase in food prices, and I went into how the solution to this is by creating a nonprofit businesses, because you're going to be offering organic food at cheaper prices, and if you do it all over the world, it's going to be available all over the world. And part of the problem that we have these dramatic food prices is because of capitalism and from things like incentive farming, which I just talked about earlier today, and a changing climate, extreme weather events, and recent invasions of desert locusts. It's interesting how the desert locust, I didn't know it was that bad. And the climate change thing, I mean, I believe in it, man. The more gases that you put out there that are shitty gases, it makes sense that that would trap more heat down on particular places, therefore changing the climate. I haven't looked too deep in it, so I can't say from specifically, but I do feel like our chosen way of consuming and the way we go about doing everything does have a dire effect on the planet. I know that here a few summers ago in Portland, we had temperatures of like 110, which is absolutely unheard of. So things are changing. And then they bring in the COVID-19 and its secondary impacts, including lockdowns, school closures, and economic recession. Now, I'm going to say this, like this is another way the beast system works, in my opinion. Since they know that a lot of people know that this sickness was fabricated, that seems to be the general consensus now. Now they're going to use that. Organizations can use that and be like, okay, so now that they know that it's been fabricated, we're going to go ahead and pretend like we're the ones that, or we're going to go ahead and pretend like this organization is against this particular sickness to lure in your trust, when in actuality they were, I'm not saying that they are, but they could be. This is the way this system does work. They could be in league with the actual people that created the sickness, and now that the sickness has been out and it's been broadcasted and proven to be fabricated on some different levels, they can use that against us by pretending to be people who are sympathetic to the fact of what's going on. So just things to think about. And then the bottom one right here I find to be very interesting: gender inequality. Like I mean, that's just, I mean, the energy reading it is like, it's just to say that's a reason for child starvation and the world hunger crisis. I don't think that's appropriate, to be honest. You could have put something like the military industrial complex. You could have put something like capitalism. You could have been something like just people's greed and a lack of ability to share and have compassion. Like those would have been much better things to put there as opposed to gender inequality. And the fact they chose to put that there says something about their intentions. And I'm going to show you guys some other stuff. Now, again, I haven't made up my mind, yet with this particular organization. And if they're willing to work with new ideas, which is part of what they say that they are, then that would be awesome, because I'd love to help them out. If that's really what they're here to do, is to help, then that's what I'm here to do, and we can help each other. So let's just continue on though. All right. So then another thing, the masks on the face, it's, again, like if you're in league with it being fabricated and all this and that and this, then it's like, why are you continuing to show pictures of two children, in a rubble, war-torn conflict situation with masks on their face? It's an image they're trying to project to you guys. So that gets me that's just red flags in my opinion. And they're talking about the conflict and the conflict and the conflict and how bad it is. And yes, it is. So, but then they also, and using the color red, there's a reason why, like organizations like Target and many others use the color red. It's all about a target. Like the red color, it's the red chakra, it's the carnio, it's the buying. It attracts you. It's the most like attractive to want to buy and do this and do that, and just to not think about the consequences. It's the color red. So just something to think about. Okay, so how are women and girls impacted? So again, like they're choosing to just focus on women and girls. Like, what about the boys? Like boys are just as severely affected by this shit as girls. I mean, that's so right there. To be honest with you, that's another red flag. Like, why are you choosing to pick like one? That's the weird thing. Like they say it's gender inequality, but they're actually being. I mean, to be honest, they're actually being unequal to genders by choosing just to focus on the woman and the girls. Like I get the woman thing as opposed to men, but boys don't know what the fuck they're doing just like girls don't. I mean, they have no I mean, they're just as weak as girls are, essentially, dude. So it's like, why focus on just women and girls? Why not include boys and men, too? There's a lot of disabled men out there who can't do shit or are sick and are weak and are starving, too. But anyway, let's just continue on, especially when you're trying to front as you're being somebody who's not gender, who doesn't, pick or choose sides when you actually seem to be doing that. But, I'm not going to read all of this stuff, but, and then there you go. That's just the end of it. Like, there's no specifics to how they're going to solve these problems. Now, they do say, I haven't looked into their finances, but they do seem to be rather open. Let's just take a look real quick. Open with how they're doing their finances. But I want to see the specific, like, where's the money going to? What are the products that they're using? Are the products actually good for the environment? Do they come from evil? Of course, this is how they work. Like, these products, the money that goes into these things, yes, it'll be going to help out the mission, but if they come in from places like Nestle, any of these other fucking big corporations that are, bent out of or built out of or grown out of exploitation, corruption, and manipulation of the planet for malevolent purposes, then that's still supporting an evil empire. But they do it under this image like they're trying to help out. And again, I haven't made up my mind whether or not they are. And it's not even up to me. It's what they're really doing. I mean, God knows everything. So it's... is what it is. But my point is they have ways of filtering shit out, just like money launderers. So they do things, they put on this pretense of being good, but a lot of times, they're still in league with a lot of evil shit. And they're just using this as a way to get more money out of you guys. And another thing is when people do this type of stuff, it makes them feel like in their heart, like they're doing what they need to do to save the children, which is good from an attentive standpoint. But if you don't pay attention to the specifics, just like it says, the devil's in the details, you could be supporting an evil corporation. Like, you don't know if some of these charities are actual fucking fronts for pedophilia, human trafficking, all sorts of shit. I mean, this stuff is so rampant, you got to figure there's ways that they're doing this. So it's just like things to think about. But so it says 85 cents goes directly toward helping children, which again, like I'm not saying that they're not, and again, but it depends on the products. A lot of products they give these children aren't even healthy for them when you could just be growing them organic food. Funded by individuals, 17% of our work was funded by UN and other multi. So like the UN, there's all sorts of shit interested in that. It was funded by corporations. Not all corporations are bad, but a lot of them are. Other sources, individuals. So, let's just see how specific they get into some stuff. I like that they're showing this, though. I will give them a shout out for that. It's good that they're showing that. But I mean, it's like this picture right here. They're actually showing this is the solution. Just getting people back to growing food from the ground. Like, why isn't there information about that? It's that simple. That's the problem with these charity organizations too. And the whole perception of them and the way that they're done is they just give to these broken down communities, which isn't bad. But again, what did Yahushua say? You teach a man, or you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So what we really need to do is develop charity organizations that go in there and we teach these people how to grow their own food, how to protect themselves, how to give them good education so they know what the fuck's going on in the world and how to prepare against and defend against spiritual corruption and physical corruption, and then also the warnings of selling out. Because a lot of times, big governments or organizations or people will come and offer them fucking, land or money or this or that to one or a few of the elders, and those people will fucking take that shit and then fuck up the rest of the community. So it's like they need to be wary of this type of stuff, and they need to stick to doing things that are in harmony with nature and life and love and essentially God's will. But it would go back, the solution is just about growing your own food like this and developing ways to defend yourself and fighting against corruption. I mean, it's simple shit, but they use a picture like this because it's alluring. But in actuality, are they actually doing what they're showing? That's all I want to see is just people doing what they're showing, like really doing the work that needs to get done. All right, I'm going to try to scroll down here if I can. All right, so... All right, where's the statistics? It's supposed to show us all the... All right, so here we go. Every second of every day. Okay, so I mean, to be honest, it just looks like they're using these numbers to just attract to lure people in, man. Like, I'm not seeing the specifics of how they're breaking down the money, of what type of products are being used, and how they're actually going to develop safe and healthy infrastructures for these people to live in. And again, more of the wearing of the face covering and stuff. It's like these are all images. This is all symbolic. You have a doctor. He's all covered up. I mean, and again, in some areas where you have like toxic and obnoxious gases and stuff, that's where you want a gas mask, not a face covering. But it's just like, this really isn't financial statistics, or like, this isn't the nut and bolts that I wanted to see in regards to what's going on with this operation. This is more of just like, I mean, to be honest, like propaganda type stuff. I mean, I'm not saying it's not true that what's going on here. Now, if I read the energy of these people, it seems like they're kind of like they're trying, like they're it's commercialized is what I'm feeling. I'm not saying, I mean, that's just what I'm feeling, dude. Like, yeah. Okay, condensed financial information. So here at the bottom we got condensed financial information. So it's like health and nutrition. If I want to see, okay, well, what type of health and nutrition? But it's like, you can't even get into it. So I would want to see that. I would want to see all the money that went into health and nutrition, and like, what is the health and nutrition that they're providing? How is it specifically being used? The education. What type of education are they teaching these people? What type of child protection? What type of child rights? Like, there's just so many questions. Like, it needs to be absolutely transparent. And if you're working for these companies, you really shouldn't be making a ton of money. There should be something done from the heart. If you're really trying to help people, all the money that you have should be going to try to help perpetuate a good future for these kids, instead of, I know some of these charity organizations get a lot of money. They pay their employees a ton of fucking money. And it's like, you're not really in it for the heart. You're just trying to make another money. So anyway, I'm going to continue looking into it, because like I said, this is a new charity organization that I've seen popped up on a few different YouTube channels, and I haven't totally made up my mind, but I have seen a couple of red flags. So, all right, I love you guys. Y'all take care. Bye.